Hi, everyone. At this point now, we're going to go ahead and set ourselves up and kind of a nice, simple warm-up project to get us ready for our day of drawing. Generally, the warm-up project takes about 5 minutes or so, maybe 5, 6 minutes. Generally, it's fast. It's kind of a fluid. You kind of just sort of think about it, but don't think about it. All right. That being said, is that we're going to take this page right here. You notice I've got a rectangle all pre-set up for myself. And by the way, a little tip for you, if you happen to have an old postcard laying around, postcards are great for just making a nice, clean, crisp little window that you can put your artwork into or image into. That way, you're not stressing out getting your ruler out and trying to get that all perfect. Nice little postcard will do that for you. All right, so with this one, again, I'm going to go ahead and start off with a shape that's really, really tight at the top and narrow. And as I work my way down the page here, I'm going to basically open up that line, make it looser, more airy, and allow more of the white of the paper to show through. So you'll end up with this textured gradation of dark or heavy line to lighter, looser, more open line at the bottom. All right, so I get my blue pencil here. I'm going to start off with these really, really tiny little ovals here at the top. Some are larger, some are smaller, but they all tend to be fairly tight. As a matter of fact, some of them almost look like little lines. They're so tight. They don't even look like ovals at this point, right? What I'm doing though is I'm changing the size of them, right? They'll slowly start to get a little bit bigger. I am trying to go back in and fill in all of the spaces in between, so that way I don't have any areas there that are not filled in. All right, I'm kind of got all these areas here, there's tight spots in here, all these narrow areas in here, right? And then slowly again, as I work my way down here, I'll start to get a little bit bigger. So you can see here, I'm going back in and just trying to fill these spaces up and try, I can overlap a little bit, but ostensibly I'm trying not to. I really don't want to do that. I can do some larger, some smaller ones. Go back and fill some of those in, do some larger ones. You'll notice that some of these now are getting a little bit larger. You notice I'm not being super particular about making that line. If it overlaps a little bit in there, that's okay. That's all right. So I'm a good half the way down now. So circles are getting a little bit larger. Go back in and fill some of those spots with some smaller ones there, just to sort of keep that visual interest up there. And as I work my way down now, I start employing shapes that are closer to circles, kind of mixing those in there as I kind of get a little bit larger here. I get closer to the end here now. I've got these larger circles here. They're not perfect, but you know what? That's okay. This is just a warm-up. And look at that. So now I've created this dark to light, or this denser, heavier texture at the top. It gets sort of thinner out here. Starts to open up a little bit until we get this nice, bigger, larger, rounded shapes at the bottom. So it's a fun warm-up exercise. Just gets the hand and the arm moving a little bit. So go ahead and give this a try. It's a lot of fun. Hi, everyone. Now let's go into part two of this one. So I've gone ahead and I've got my sketchbook here and I've warmed up. I've got my pencil going here and I started up with these really narrow, small ovals at the top and slowly kind of randomly changing the size, working my way down the page, getting from these narrow ovals to a little bit larger and a little bit more circular in pattern until I get to the bottom here and I'm making more circular patterns that are less like ovals, closer to being circles. I'm not going to be really tight about that, but kind of keeping it loose. What I'm going to do right now, though, is I'm going to come back in here and I am going to go ahead and do some inking now on this one. But I'm going to, when I ink this, I am not going to follow it very tightly. It's going to be kind of a fairly loose affair. I'm going to go ahead and stay working the same theme of working smaller, tighter little ovals at the top and getting more random and looser and larger as I work my way down the page. But again, I'm not tracing. So it's not about tracing. All right, so here it goes. Little tiny little ovals. Look at that. They almost read, even though I'm making that oval, they read as almost little thick lines, right? And I get down here, I start to open them up a little bit. And remember, again, this important part of this part is to knot and try not to make a pattern. And you notice the shapes I'm making here. They're getting a little bit bigger. We're starting getting larger here. I've got these going in and around, and I've got the shapes are coming in. I'm starting to move my way down the page here, and I'll make some of them a little smaller, some of them a little bit bigger, right? I'm just kind of going back in that vein of just bringing these in. Okay, I'll make one that's a little bigger there. It's funny when you start working repetition like this, you really have to sort of force your hand and really think about that eye-hand control when you're trying to change up that scale a little bit and trying to make something go a little bit bigger, particularly if you're going just the exact same size every single time. So I'm starting to go down now. I'm opening this up, getting a little bit closer to a round shape here. I'm kind of, again, they're a little bit squat, but slowly getting that way here. And again, as I move through here, I just sort of take my time and be thinking about opening that up. As I do work this, it's interesting that I will go along and I will use less of my wrist and I try to use my arm to get those shapes in there, right? Now starting to go really much larger. And there we are. So you see here, I've gone ahead, same thing as before. I've got these little tight little ovals up at the top and they start to get more open and wider and larger as I work my way down to get these larger circles. And I just really warmed up my hand, warmed up my arm, got myself ready to go here and kind of have my mind in the zone thinking about a line and weight and working with the ink and manipulating the brush to get what I want. So I'm pretty happy with this. I hope you go ahead and try this out for yourself. Again, a great little warm-up exercise, just to help you relax a little bit. Don't overthink it. Don't try to make perfect circles. They're supposed to be squash and weird shapes. The main part is here is you're starting out with a tighter, narrower one at the top. And as your way go down here, you gradually they become a little bit larger and less squat, and they become more and more rounded to get to the bottom here. And they're a fairly rounder shape. You're trying to get away from the oval at that point. Well, have fun. We'll see you soon.